So for this video, I'm going to do something a bit different from the others and give you my opinion right up front for the Astro changes that are coming in Endwalker. But I'm also going to ask that you like that smash button below, as often with the Final Fantasy XIV community, as great as it is, any critique can sometimes be heard as hateful. So I'm sure I'm going to see those comments below, and that's why if you hit the like button, that actually will help out the video overall. I appreciate it, but here it goes. I really enjoyed the changes that they made to Astro and the card system overall, but as a controller player, this job feels like a massive step backwards in terms of how it will play, even with the setup. So in a way, Astro feels more like a button breaker with their skills and abilities than ever before, and I just didn't like it. But now that I'm sure I've upset some of you, here is my pledge. I will work my butt off when it comes to the level 90 Astro controller guide to try to make it as user-friendly and as comfortable as possible. And just like the Summoner, like I did that in Shadowbringers, I ended up having to spend 2 months with that job, testing, retesting, trying, retrying, until I finally got it working. That is what I'm going to do with Astro, and that is my takeaway that I had leaving the media tour last week. So I do thank you for your support here and hitting that like button, but at the same time, I feel like the hardest part of this video is out of the way. So now I hope that we can dive into the changes that have been made to Astro in Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Brian if you're new around here, and if you're a returning subscriber for watching this video, you've unlocked the title of Card Master. That's what you get for subscribing, by the way. Free titles to rep in-game and in the real world. So hopefully this video earns your sub, and if it does, let me know in the comments below so I can welcome you officially to the channel and that you can also now enjoy your new title. Now this video, I'm going to focus in on two key areas, obviously with the theme of how this plays on controller, but the first part of the video is going to really go over the Astrologian's traits, as we've seen a lot of adjustments here, and I don't think it's that overwhelming, but just note that we're going to start with the traits because that trickles into obviously the skills. And so the second part of this video is going to be more focusing around the skills, but please note all of this footage, all of these numbers, they have not undergone final adjustments. This is pre-release build, and all content, especially the numbers, are subject to significant change. So please do not worry or stress over anything that you actually see here in this video. As we dive into the traits, Maim and Mend, Enhanced Benefic, Maim and Mend 2, we're not seeing any changes for the first section of these skills. It's when we get into Enhanced Draw as a trait this is where the draw system and the card system start to make sense. Enhanced Draw is now going to grant you Clarifying Draw. So we'll see this in the skills, but redraw no longer is charged. It literally, you get one redraw per draw. And this is going to make a lot more sense when you actually see how the card system works overall. So bear with me, I'm going to get to that as quickly as possible. So note, at level 40, you get Enhanced Draw, which grants you one redraw per card. Then you go back into Combast Mastery. This is just taking Combast 1 to 2. And then you get Enhanced Draw 2. This is where you're going to get your signs, Solar, Lunar, and Celestial, according to the Arcanium that you play in combat. So how this ultimately works, just to kind of give you a kind of a heads up preview, is when you draw a card now, you get a seal. That if you've been playing Astro this whole time, that makes sense. However, the seals don't actually benefit the party. They only benefit you, the caster. All of your abilities, especially that damage up, is going to impact the whole party. So we'll cover that when we get to those specific skills. But essentially, you're no longer going to have to worry about these damage burst windows and trying to get the right seals so that you can kind of time it with everybody else in the party when you're doing your pull. Now that is just a straight 6%, and then we'll go from there. So now you're working for seals that impact the buffs that are applied to you and only you. And then you are able to evenly spread out the damage. The cards themselves have not changed though. So still wanting to target the specific role, and anybody wanting it to go back to the kind of the, I guess, Stormblood era, that is not what's happening here. So it is kind of, I guess, being more evened out across the board in terms of its utility, but there also still is that aspect that you're going to be fishing for seals so that you can actually benefit yourself in how you play. All right, continue on. Malphic Mastery 2, no changes there. Hyper Light Speed is still the same. And now we start getting into the new traits for the Astro. Malphic Mastery 4 grants Malphic 4 to fall Malphic. And that's a whole lore thing in which that certain spells can't go over number 4. Anyway, we might cover that in a lore video for you guys. If you're interested, just let me know in the comments. Then you have Gravity Mastery, upgrades Gravity to Gravity 2. And Gravity 2 looks phenomenal. I'm going to just put it out there right now. Then you get enhanced healing magic, and this is where you're going to see potency for Benefic, Helios, Benefic 2, Aspect of Benefic, Aspect of Benefic's region, and Helios, their region effects, all getting a potency boost. We'll actually see this in the numbers in the specific skills. You can also see the tooltip obviously on screen. And then you have enhanced Celestial Intercession. This is going to allow Celestial Intercession to have 2 charges, and it's now pure shield. And again, we'll cover that here in the skills themselves. Benefic's got a potency increase, and this is obviously building off of that trait, right? So if you're playing lower level than that trait, then it's still going to be what the current potency that you're used to. Also remember the battle system and all the numbers are getting squished and squashed around. So again, you're going to have to go hands-on when you feel it and see how it ultimately feels for you. But you can see Benefic's getting boosted to 500 over 400. Still the same other perks with a 15% chance that Benefic 2 will restore critical HP. Then we got Helios, which got that potency increase going from 330 to 400. Benefic 2 gets a potency increase going from 700 to 800. And especially if that's a critical guarantee, that's going to be huge. Big old heal right there for you. Draw. Okay, here's where things are getting fun. You obviously draw your card, and it's going to restore 5% of your MP, where before you did 8%. And this is where you get that clarifying draw, and you actually get 2 charges of your card. So it's still 30-second recast, but draw is now a charged action, so you can put out a couple really quick, and you do get that 1 redraw per draw. So with that and undraw and play, like there's a lot of going on, and that's what you got there. Now Diurnal Sect gone, completely removed. It's out of here. Undraw still the same, no changes. Play. This is going to trigger obviously the effect of the card. It looks like the like the tooltip's been cleaned up as it relates to the different changes, but nothing really there. Aspect of Benefit is now only healing over time. There's no stance that the Astrologian has. So, and you also see a potency increase both to the cure and to the region itself. Overall, like really good change. Obviously, the tooltip's smaller and cleaner. Redraw can only be affected when clarifying draw. So this is going from a 3 charged, option now to just being able to be redrawn after you draw 1 card. And then you have Aspected Helios, again, dropping the shield ability, dropping the stance, only focusing in on your heals and regions, and then a potency boost across the board, 250 and 150 on the region effect, which is really nice. Gravity's had a potency decrease going from 140 to 120, but no other changes outside of that. Then Combast 2 didn't have any changes. Nocturnal Set got cut, so it's no longer a part of the whole kit. And then you have Sinastri. It looks like no changes there across the board. Now, Minor Arcania, like you might be wondering, where's this now? That actually gets pushed out later in the leveling process, so we'll actually revisit the changes here in a second. Divination, this is the change here. So increased damage dealt to self and party by 6%. So before it was basically wanting you to fish up those 3 seals for the 6%. Now it's a guaranteed 6% every 2 minutes, regardless. You don't have to futz with that. Then you have Astrodyne. This is the kind of the core mechanic of seal hunting. Like, sounds horrible, but you get it. Grants the effect using Astrologian's signs read from your divining deck. Can only be executed after reading 3 astro signs, and the effects granted are determined by the number of different types of seals. 1, get you Harmony of Spirit. 2, Harmony of Spirit and Harmony of Body. And 3, Harmony of Spirit, Harmony of Body, and Harmony of Mind. Note that it's not that you can get to Harmony of Mind any other way. Like, it's all about having those 3 seals. That's what's going to get you those 3 signs, and they stack up. So 1, 2, 3, accordingly, you get those 3 buffs. What do? Harmony of Spirit is going to gradually restore your own MP. Harmony of Body is going to reduce spell cast time and recast time and auto attack delay by 10%. And Harmony of Mind increases damage dealt and healing potency by 5%. So there is some real significance to having the 3 seals, because not only are you getting increased speed, and also recast time, but it's also increasing your damage. So these 2, I think, are what you're going to be chasing the most. But obviously 1 seal is going to continue to help restore MP, which kind of offsets the decrease in the MP reduction that we saw with draw. Now, Collective Unconscious got its change because, again, no stances here, so it's all purely regen. But let's go ahead and go through the full card here. Creates a celestial ring around the caster. Additional effect reduces damage taken by 10% and applies Wheel of Fortune to self and any party. That's going to last 18 seconds, which is a regen effect, and it's got 100 cure potency. Effect ends upon using any other action or moving, and that just takes that off, but the regen effect will stay in place. Then you have Celestial Opposition. Restores own HP and the HP of all nearby party members with a cure of 200 with a regen of 100. And so you can see here there's no Nocturnal Sect because that is no longer the case. Earthly Star sees pretty much staying the same except for when you start getting into the later effects. So you actually see here that the potency has been increased to 320 up from 150 from the previous edition. So the cure potencies stay the same. All the other things seem to stay the same, which is overall, I think, really exciting to see. But yeah, damage has been up, increased by Earthly Star. And then here we get into Minor Arcania, because one of the things you'll notice is we don't actually have Sleeve Draw anymore. Sleeve Draw has been removed from the job, and we get Minor Arcania, which is in its place. And this is essentially, you get Lord of Crowns or Lady of Crowns. So just like Draw, you've got the card system, but you also have Minor Arcania, which is another type of draw. And you get Lord of Crowns, Lady of Crowns, and then you get Crowd Play, which is essentially the play button for your Minor Arcania here. So just note those work hand in hand. And we'll get to the cards here just in a second, because Lord, like as a summary, Lord is now a damage ability and Lady is now a healing ability. And I actually really appreciate that overall. And we get Combast 3, which got a potency decrease of 5. So not a huge cut, but still a minor cut nevertheless. Malphic 4 got a potency decrease from 250 to 230. And Celestial Intercession now is just a Magitek shield around your target, which nullifies damage equaling 200% of the amount of HP that actually was restored via the cure itself. So that's the change with that one. Horoscope didn't receive any changes, and Neural Sect now basically applies the barrier abilities to you as a healing over time. So Aspect and Benefict and Helios still do their things, but you now actually can put a shield out on the target with Neutral Sect, and the card has been cleaned up basically to reflect that. So it's really hasn't changed, but outside the fact the stances are gone. All right, now we get into our new abilities for the Astrologian. Fall Malphic. This is going to deal unexpected damage with a potency of 250. So for those of you paying attention, that is essentially covering for what it was over at Malphic 4. So it's just a fancier version of what we've been casting. And then you got Gravity 2, which honestly, I tell you, hands down, this is such a beautiful spell. I'm really happy to see that Gravity got updated. Visually, the spells in Endwalker look so much better. Deals unexpected damage with a potency of 130 to all target enemies nearby at no damage fall off. It literally is just straight across the board. Exaltation, this is really a powerful ability. Reduces damage taken by self or target party member by 10%. It's also going to restore HP at the end of the effect's duration. So it's going to last 8 seconds and have a 500 potency cure. So when you think of a tank buster, like this is going to be targeting right, sometime, within 8 seconds before the buster goes off, because you want that hit to hit, and then it's going to respawn, right? So it's going to hit and reduce damage and act as a 500 potency cure. And that's got a 60-second recast timer. So that's actually a really cool spell. Macrocosmos here deals unexpected damage to all enemies nearby with a potency of 250 for the first enemy and 50% less for all remaining enemies. This is also going to grant Macrocosmos to self and all nearby party members. That's going to last for 15 seconds. The action changed to Macrocosmos upon execution for the effect's duration. 50% of damage taken is compiled, and then restores HP equaling to compiled damage when the effect expires, or upon the execution of Microcosmos, the amount restored cannot exceed the target's maximum HP. This is the big old, like, you're raining different comments from the sky, and it just looks phenomenal. I really can't wait to see what you guys think about this spell. I think it's beautiful. Like I said, the spell effects in Endwalker are just gorgeous. All right, card changes. Lord of Crowns, Lady of Crowns is where we're seeing the most change overall. And this is where you can see that it deals unexpected damage with a potency of 250 to all nearby enemies. No damage fall off for Lord of Crowns. Lady of Crowns is going to restore own HP and HP of all nearby party members with a cure potency of 400. And you can see that that is just built off of that. Before it was doing 4% or 8% of the damage. Now that's been cleaned up and it's a little bit more straightforward. And finally, the Arcana gauge has been changed. So you can see your card, your seals, and what of the Lord or the Ladies are you currently rocking and rolling with. Those are the changes, guys. And I gave more of my opinion up front at the start of this video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that and you hung out with me this whole time. If you made it to the end of this video, let me know if these are good changes, these are bad changes, what questions you might have relational to the Astro. And hopefully you guys check out the top link in these videos for the Final Fantasy XIV playlist media tour. That way you can get caught up on all the coverage that we've got rolling out here on Ginger Prime, on Gaming Kinda, on Work to Game, and over on Ginger Gaming Radio and the Shorts channel, like all kinds of stuff. Also, we're on Facebook, got some cool surprises over for you over there. Just, anyway, check the links in the description for anything and everything you need. Thank you for watching. Love you face, and I'll see you next time. But until then, take care.